All right. So today we get into story problems. Okay. Excuse me. I hate for my teaching to disturb your personal conversations. So this is kind of review from yesterday with the coordinate plane, right? So again, anytime we are doing a story problem, you need to find out what the story problem is asking. Okay. So it says you play capture the flag. You are 50 yards north and 20 yards east of your team's base, which is this dot right here. Okay. And the other team's base is 80 yards north and 60 yards east of your base, which is right here. How far are you from the other team's base? So what we're looking for is this line. Okay, that's distance. Now, you have to be aware in this graph, look at the increments of the axis. The east axis here and the north axis, or x and y, right? What do you notice about the axis, the increments? They're going by tens, right? So if you go to draw your right triangle and you look and you go, well, the bottom is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Is it really 4 units? No, it's going by tens. So it's actually 40 units long. And the top is 30. Okay. So that's why when you plug it in, we're still looking for the hypotenuse because here's your right angle, opposite side of the right angle. That's the missing side, right? So that's why we're looking for C. So when we plug it in, you get 50. It's kind of like the 3, 4, 5 triangle, just going in increments of 10, right? Same idea, all right? So here's what I want you to do. Using this kind of example, there's 2 story problems down below in the self-assessment I want you to try. You can work on with your group. Now, again, before I let you work on it, there's a couple things I got to help you refresh your memory on. So if you look at the first one, it says a zookeeper knows that an escaped red panda is hiding somewhere in the triangular region shown. What is the area in square miles that the zookeeper needs to research? So even though we have a triangle here and we have a missing side, what we're actually trying to look for, though, eventually is all this, which is the area, okay? So try to take your memory banks back to last year. Who remembers what the area of a triangle is? Area of a triangle. Okay, yeah, same, half times the base of the triangle times the height, right? So 1/2 the base times the height. Remember, the base is right down here. This is the height of your triangle. That's the side we're missing. So there's something you're going to have to do to find that. So once you kind of go through that work, then you can answer the actual question using the other formula. So same thing down below, down here for 14, make sure you read carefully. So I'm going to pause the video, let you guys work on this. When you're done, I want you to self-assess before we go on it together. That's the blue paper. Remember story problems, blue paper? So you're going to go into the 9.2 part of the blue paper, the Pythagorean Theorem, okay? All right, so go ahead, try to work on this as best you can, and we'll go over in just a little bit. All right. So the first thing we have to do is figure out this length so we have the height, right? Because out of this formula, we have the base. What we don't have is the height, right? So opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. So that's the C. Okay. We're trying to find the X side, right? Or the B, whatever you want to look at, the one of the legs. So 2.4 squared is 5.76. And 7.4 squared is 54.76. So how can I get x squared all by itself? Minus the 5.76 to both sides, right? On the left side, it's 0. On the right side, when I subtract 5.76 from 54.76, it's 49. Well, that worked out nice, right? Because now, how do I get x by itself? What do I have to do to both sides? Square root. And the square root of 49 is 7. So this is 7 miles here. So now when I plug the 7 in over here, 1/2 times 2.4 times 7 is 8.4. And again, when you're talking about area, you're talking about square miles. And that was number 13. So we had to use the Pythagorean theorem to get some information to be able to answer another question dealing with the formula for area of a triangle. Okay. How many people got 13? Okay. That's a tough question. All right. 14. Okay. Now, 14, it says, objects detected by radar are plotted on a coordinate plane where each unit represents 15. So instead of going by ones, we're going by 15s. Okay. At the point 0, 0 represents the location of a shipyard. A cargo ship is traveling at a constant speed and in a constant direction parallel to the coastline. Okay, that's just a sentence. So at 9 a.m., the radar shows the cargo ship at 09. All right, so remember, though, this is going by increments of 15. So if we draw that, so 0, 0, that's our shipyard. Okay, right down here. So if I go up 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not really 9, right? It's 15, and then 30, 45, 60, going up by 15s every time. So it's actually, when we get there, it's 135. Okay, is the y-intercept. All right, at 10 a.m., so an hour later, the cargo ship shows is at 19. So it's moved one spot over. Okay. So basically 15 miles, basically, right? So we just know by that sentence right there that the cargo ship moves at 15 miles per hour. That little bit of information is going to come into play later. All right. We want to know is at what time will the cargo ship be 225 miles from the shipyard? Okay. So it's traveling this direction. Okay. So basically this line here is 225, and we're trying to figure out that spot. Okay. So right angle tells us that's the hypotenuse. 135 is the length of the leg here, right? So it's going to be 135 squared. So these are some big numbers. Okay. So now remember, at what time? So the question we have to eventually ask has to do with time. Okay. But we got to figure something out first before we get to it. This is going to be the distance. Once we figure out the distance, then we got to figure out how long it takes it to go, which I'll show you. So 135 squared, when you take 135 times 135, it is 18,225. Like I said, big numbers. 225 squared is 50,625. But just like the one up above, how do I get b squared by itself? What do I got to do? Yeah, 18,225. I got to subtract because that's the opposite. Okay, leaving me b squared on the left and 32,400 on the right. Square root both sides, and that's where you need your calculator because no one remembers the square root of 32,400. And this answer is 180. So that means that this distance, it travels 180 miles, right? Well, we know the speed, right? It goes 15 miles per hour. So if it goes at 180 miles, take 180 and divide it by 15. That's going to tell you the time, right? What's 180 divided by 15? 12. So it takes 12 hours for that thing to travel from here all the way to here. Okay, 12 hours. Well, if it starts at 9 a.m., what's 12 hours from 9 a.m.? 9 p.m. And that's your answer. So we had to do a lot just to come up with answering their question. Okay. So make sure you self-assess yourself with the blue sheet. It might be. All right, and then tonight, so the class time we got left, excuse me, with the class time we got left, which for you guys is 33 minutes. That's a lot. 5 problems. Okay? 5 problems. Okay, and as long as you're working with somebody and being productive, you can work, because you remember you can do delta math also. Remember, last week when we were off, the 2 days before that, we didn't have Delta Math, right? So now there's a Delta Math due next Monday. So make sure you get a crack at it, all right? All right.